Namaste and welcome to AP Talk Time. My name is Thapa. Veganism is on the rise globally. In dietary terms, veganism is the practice of dispensing with all the product derived wholly or partly from animal. Nepal has organized the Himalayan Vegan Festival 2022. The Himalayan Vegan Festival hosted over 100 exhibitors, 100 plus international and local delegates and speakers, and welcomed thousands of attendees to discover, celebrate and support vegan lifestyle in the heart of the Himalayas. People choose to be vegan for health, environmental and or other ethical reasons. To talk more on vegan lifestyle, animal rights and other issues, I am joined by Maneka Gandhi. She is a politician, animal rights activist and environmentalist. Ms. Gandhi, welcome to Nepal. Welcome to AP Talk Time.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure having you here.
Thank you.
Tell us more about your visit to Nepal.
Well, it's my second visit. I came here many years ago at the invitation of Sujata Koiralaji.
Yeah.
And I think it's been 2 decades. And it's lovely coming.
What was the event like back then?
Oh, that I came officially, so it was much more formal.
As a
And
minister?
now, as a minister. And
So you're here as an activist, shall I say that?
absolutely.
So the Himalayan Vegan Festival is going on. Tell us more about the festival. Tell us more about the vegan movement in Nepal or throughout the world.
Well, the vegan movement, what is veganism? It is simply a way of life in which you do not harm the earth. You do not use a lot of wood. You do not use anything that you don't absolutely need. It is not simply, a lot of people think veganism is simply eating something which is vegetarian and not eating dairy, not eating eggs. Yes, that is the base route. You start with not having dairy products and not having eggs. But that's only the beginning. It's a question of evolution of consciousness that you will actively fight to save the world. And how do you save the world? By being less of a consumer and more of an earth lover, which means that you are not just pro-human, you are pro all beings. For instance, every human being, as soon as they are born, cuts 7 trees. In Asia. In America, it would be more. But here, from the day we are born, rich people do it for furniture, newspapers, the poor do it for their homes, to burn, etc. But we both cut the same. Now, a vegan would probably plant them back. And sometimes veganism is thought of by young vegans as another consumer movement, that you exchange one lipstick, all lipsticks have got meat in them. So you exchange a meat-based lipstick for a vegan lipstick. But it's not another consumer movement. It's a new way of thought. It is what is known as a disruption. The first disruption was electricity. The second disruption was computers. The third disruption will probably be veganism, a new way of thought.
Are you a vegan yourself?
Yes, I am.
How difficult it is for you
It's
to
the
adopt
easiest thing in the
veganism?
world. We're so lucky that we're Indian or Nepali or Sri Lankan because we have so many vegetables, we have so many cereals, we have so much great rice and wheat and millet and everything. So how easy is it to be vegan? In fact, in our country and in your country, milk came from the British. It was not natural to us. Eggs, certainly not. So even now, what is your comfort food? It's not scrambled eggs. Your comfort food is rice and dal.
A lot of people still consider the vegan life as a very expensive life.
In fact, it's 100 times cheaper. After all, what are the expensive foods? Expensive foods are meat, eggs and milk. So if I don't have all 3 of them, how can I be living a more expensive life? If I wear rubber chappals instead of wearing leather ones, they're much cheaper. If I wear cotton sarees, and that too, organic cotton sarees, they're much cheaper. So how is it more expensive? In fact, I'll probably halve my monthly money that I spend. But more than that, it's an attitude. A vegan buys less. uses less. You don't have to have 20 pairs of earrings. You don't have to have 500 lipsticks. So when you buy less, consume less, you step outside voluntarily from the consumer movement. So then how would it be more expensive?
While I was doing your research, I heard you somewhere saying, unless we change our food choices, nothing else matters. Probably you were referring to the consumption of meat, eggs, or something like that.
Yeah.
Also, a lot of people argue in this statement saying that it's a part of ecosystem. The fittest will survive. How do you like to respond
Well, at the
to
moment,
that?
it's the fattest will survive. But no, it's not true. There's no question of fittest. We're not in a race with a buffalo or a cow. And it's not a choice between a human and a cow. The point is that cows, goats, chickens, pigs, the animals that we eat are not part of the ecosystem. All of them have been grown forcibly. Suppose I make a factory and I make 100 million shoes a day, and then I say those are natural to nature. They're not. I made them. We grow these animals forcibly. In most countries, including India, they no longer even mate naturally. They are forcibly inseminated. Now, what is happening here is we do not have the land to keep them. So they are all running wild in the forests. So what you are doing is the ecosystem, which is composed of animals like tigers, elephants, monkeys, and other animals, are being totally harmed because the forest is being eaten alive by these animals who are grown for meat. A buffalo or a cow that goes into the forest eats all the new trees, the new shoots, the plants. The farmer who takes them, the shepherd who takes them, poisons the water because he is scared that a large cat will kill a sheep. So he first kills the cats. So we are losing all our ecosystem, our forests, our weather, our wild animals, because of the animals that we farm forcibly. If we were to reduce them, suppose we were to stop eating meat today, it is not that those animals will grow and grow and grow and take over the country. No, they will immediately reduce. No animal grows beyond the ability of nature to look after that animal.
But still, movement like this, the vegan movement, is considered as something, an agenda of elite class people. Only rich people talk about movement like this.
So
how do you like to respond to this?
Yeah, it's a good question, because it's how would my being vegetarian and not harming the world be elitist? In fact, a person who eats chicken chow mein would be far more elitist than me because I eat just dal. How would a person who goes looking for high heels in leather or looks for 10 different kinds of diamond earrings, because diamonds are also part of the earth and much of the earth is destroyed by mining. So how would they be less elitist than me who doesn't wear any jewelry? How would a person who is a non-consumer be more elitist than a consumer? Do we call the refinement of the mind, do we call the awareness of the spiritual being that every human is, do we call that elitist? For a Buddhist country to say that, no way. Because all of us aspire towards the awakening of the soul. And we can only awaken the soul when we reduce the demands that we have on the earth. When we free ourselves from greed. That is what every religion says. So how can my freeing myself from greed be considered elitist?
So far I know, I think probably this is the biggest vegan movement I've ever seen in Nepal, the event. How do you see the movement going in Nepal? Are you happy with the response?
I'm very impressed, I have to say. When I agreed to come, I mentally made up my mind that I would be addressing 20 people, all of whom would be hippies, and then I'd go home. But I came here and found that the organizers were 300 people. And all of them, I was received by a brigadier general. Most of the organizers are male, which for me is a refreshing thing, because normally animal welfare people are all female. So to see so many men in the movement, see, meat has been interpreted by the advertising agencies as something which makes you masculine.
Yeah, and
So the
strong.
more meat you eat, the more macho you are. So for so many men to become vegan and to propagate veganism, and especially in Nepal, which has the fiercest fighters in the world, I mean, for me, that's wonderful. And to see the level of organization, and so many people have chipped in. The Salty has given things free. People have, the government has given cars free. The ministers have come. Everybody has come with true hospitality towards the birth of a new philosophy. And it's not a new philosophy. We started our lives as vegans thousands of years ago.
What went wrong?
We just got greedy. The human being has to make a choice. And that choice is to have or to be. Very often, the brain makes the choice of to have. And then you go and you become a multimillionaire and you eat still the same food, but you want more and more and more. And then you wonder why you're unhappy. But if the brain makes the choice of to be, then your brain gets bigger and bigger, your spiritual evolution gets bigger and bigger, and you become happier. You will notice that all vegans, many vegetarians, are just so much calmer and happier than people who eat meat. Because it goes with an entire philosophy.
So you're somebody who's actively involved in politics. You've been minister for fourth time, I guess?
Fifth.
So you are in this movement, you are fighting for animal rights and welfare. Does that affect your political career or that enhances your political career? How do you see that?
Well, I've won the maximum number of times of any politician in India. So obviously,
That has enhanced.
it makes no difference one way or the other. The point is to be true to yourself. I've won 8 times. I am the longest serving parliamentarian in India. I also have won many times by the largest number of votes. So, and I make no attempt to hide it. But remember this, when the heart opens, it opens for all. You cannot be pro people and not be pro animals. It's when you just be pro yourself, then you go up and down in politics. I run 5 orphanages for children. I work very hard in my constituency to see that the poorest of the poor get instant justice. I pick up everybody's phone. I answer 200 to 300 calls a day from my constituents saying, "Hamari nali theek nahi hai," which members of parliament don't.
Yeah.
But for me, when I talk to you, you are the most important person in my life. And that amounts with everybody. I empathize with you.
So your affection and connection with animals has made you a better person.
My connection with the universe I don't know whether it's made me a better person, but it's made me alive to every suffering. I know you suffer, and I know that the cat suffers just as much, and I know the monkey suffers, and I know that the tiger runs in pain, and I know that ant, she comes out of a little hole every day, and she knows that she will not go back because somebody will tread on her. So think of how she suffers. And that suffering becomes part of my awareness.
Talking about animal right and welfare, I think we don't have proper animal law in Nepal.
You don't have any, not just proper, you have no animal laws.
I was just being a little polite. How do you see this going and what went wrong? How would you like to respond to this?
See, you had a monarchy for many years. And the monarchy didn't see the necessity for a law like this because if they wanted to rule, they would have ruled. If they wanted to be kind, they would be kind. And they spent many years being kind. And then they were not there anymore. So you are now a very young republic. And you, sooner or later, you're going to get this law. You have no animal laws. It's very frightening. Because the movement, especially among young people, is very, very strong towards animals. All over the world, it's not just here. Young people are growing up watching National Geographic, watching animals. They're much more aware. And they're coming towards the fag end of animal life on this planet. And they're desperate to save it. So Nepal needs to move, and it needs to get itself animal protection laws if you are going to interest young people at all.
what would you like to see the new government doing in terms of animal welfare and right?
I would like to see them all pass an animal welfare law, which is much better than Indian law or Sri Lankan law or Burmese law. Every country has animal protection acts except Nepal. So why don't they just sit down, make a committee of animal welfare people, maybe even from the people who came to this meeting, and make a good law, a much better law, learning from our mistakes.
So coming back to veganism, although the veganism is a growing trend worldwide, it remains controversial at some point due to health issues. There are some people argue there are several side effects of the veganism. Vegan will suffer things like anemia, disruption in hormone production, or the deficiency of vitamin B12, things like that.
Yeah.
How true are
valid
those
question.
allegations?
It's a valid allegation. The thing is that meat and milk, between the two of them, cause every known disease, from diabetes to acne to hair fall to obesity to cancer, everything, to to dementia. There is enough evidence. So the fact that I don't eat these, how would it make me sicker? Firstly. Secondly, how would eating a diet of vegetables, cereals, how would it make me sicker, since those are the natural foods for my body? If I put diesel into a petrol engine, that car will break down. For years we have been putting milk, meat, eggs into our body, which we cannot digest at all. Did you know, for instance, that nobody except 40% of white-skinned people can even digest milk? So when you drink milk, it putters in your stomach. The more milk you drink, the less calcium you have. These are studies done by Yale. So how would my not eating these things make me sicker? But the question you ask of vitamin B12 and of vitamin D, that is the people say that vegans suffer from these. But you cannot get vitamin B12 or vitamin D from any foods.
So you need sunlight.
So meat eaters have exactly the same deficiencies as vegans. For both of them, you need supplements.
So here, I am a vegetarian myself. I don't eat meat, but I don't force my beliefs and conviction on others. So I don't fight with anybody who is against my belief or ideology. But that does not occur with the vegan people. They are quite aggressive regarding their beliefs and ideology. I somewhere met people.
Do you think that, or do you think it's your own guilty conscience that is promoting? Wait a minute. If I don't drink and I go to a cocktail party, there will be at least 10 people who come up to me, I mean not me as a person, but me as a man, and say, why are you not drinking? How foolish you are. How can you get through life through drinking, without drinking? If I don't eat meat, they'll say, kya ghas poos kyun khate ho? So a meat eater and a drinker and a cigarette smoker will always try to make you follow their path because they feel guilty about doing something so horrible alone. A vegan, if he says to you that, I wish you wouldn't kill animals.
So
do you think that's
all
aggressive?
The guilt coming away?
Yeah, it's your guilt that says that I'm aggressive. If I tell you, please don't have a dead body on my table. Yeah? I mean, Indians, of which we all are, as Indians, Nepalis, Sri Lankans, whatever, the concept of ahimsa is in our soul. And it bothers me to have dead bodies on my table. Even if I go to a restaurant, I will not let anybody order meat. It bothers me. I don't want a high. I don't want bad karma. So how am I aggressive if I tell you not to kill? Is a hunter aggressive or a non-hunter?
Slightly telling not to kill is not aggressive, but forcing is kind of aggressive.
How can I force you not to? The only person I can force is my child. Right? No child says that their mother is aggressive. If I tell you that, darling, when you're with me, don't eat meat. How is that aggressive? It's a request. It's like you if you're telling me that, please, when you're with me, please eat meat. It's up to me to accept it, but I'm not going to say that you're aggressive. But I find that because you are threatened, by you I mean the meat eater, is threatened by the vegan, because he knows in his conscience that what he is doing is wrong. Therefore, he has to label the vegan as boring, as aggressive, as eating rubbish. You know, none of these are true. None of these are true. Vegan food is very exciting. Vegan food makes you simply more aware of your duties, your responsibilities. How would more love for this planet translate as aggression? Would going out and killing a tiger make me less aggressive?
Very well said. Talking about animal right, we have a festival called Garimai Festival where thousands of animals are sacrificed. That's a very controversial festival as well. So,
unfortunately.
Yeah, and a lot of debates are being raised every 5 years, but the momentum is not quite satisfactory. What is your thought regarding that festival?
The festival is not a festival for religion because the temple is not visited for 5 years. The Gadimai herself, whoever the goddess is of no importance in the larger scheme of gods and goddesses of Nepal. It is run by a committee. This committee is made of business people and they collect the blood and the bones and they send them to China. So it's done for commercial purposes. Secondly, all the animals are smuggled from India. So India now has decided that we will not smuggle them. So because of our efforts, it was in 2014, 400,000 animals were killed. In 2019, 20,000 animals were killed. The Supreme Court of India has banned Garimai and from India to take part. The Supreme Court of Nepal has done the same. Now it is for the government to take over the committee of Garimai and make it a government committee because that is the only way you'll stop it. Because I'll tell you, it gets very bad publicity for Nepal and it actually stops hundreds and hundreds of people from coming here as tourists. You may not feel that impact, but people who read it, for 2 years people talk about nothing except Garimai straight after the festival. There is only one other country which nobody goes to as tourists, only because they do this, and that is the Faroe Islands near Denmark. Every year they kill dolphins, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dolphins. Nobody goes to the Faroe Islands. And this is what happens in Nepal. You don't need Garimai. Nobody is objecting to the other places. But Garimai, 20,000 animals being killed. See, what is the impact it has? People go there just to kill. They don't go there to worship. Nobody knows why they're killing. They don't go to the mandir, they don't offer flowers, they don't offer even the blood of the animal that they have killed. They just come, take a kukri, slit the throat, watch the animal die and then go home. So it's the equivalent of zoo hunting. In Africa, they allow you to take animals from the zoo and kill them.
It's a barbaric act.
It's barbaric for no reason. What pleasure does it give you? And the person who kills that buffalo, that goat, that animal, who goes to Garimai just to kill, that person beats his wife, beats his children, will probably do some kind of illegal act, probably is a drug addict. It has social consequences. When you are allowed to kill, you are the kind of person who is a danger to society. And that is why open killing like this has to be completely stopped. It is not done in the name of religion. It's just done in the name of killing.
But still it's considered as an elite movement.
What is an elitist movement? Stopping it.
No.
Then?
The raising voice.
Raising voices against psychopaths. How would it be an elitist? Are the police elitist? No. Somebody has to talk about what is right and what is good. It is good for Nepal to stop it. I have no voice in Nepal. I can only tell you as somebody who can see it from outside and who has very deep feelings of affection for Nepal, that this is not good for you. It creates violence, unnecessary. It brings you no money. it completely destroys the ecosystem in and around Garimai because so much blood comes in. It creates smugglers from India who come then, remain in Nepal and do many other bad things here. It promotes psychopaths coming from Kathmandu and other places just to kill and come back. Oh, what did you do this weekend? Oh, I went to Garimai and killed 10 buffaloes and came back. Hello? No? So that, why would it be elitist, darling?
I don't know, a lot of people are still considered as an elitist.
So do you think that
movement.
violence is normal and stopping violence is elitist?
So it's really an honor to talk to you. I am privileged to talk to the member of the Lok Sabha, a profound politician who has been minister in 4 governments, or I don't know, I lost
Whatever.
the count. So it would be unfair if I don't bring this side to our audience. Tell us more about this side, your association with BJP and you coming from such an influential Gandhi family. When you recall back, what do you assess?
Well, the universe has always been very kind to me. I don't know whether I deserve everything I got, but I've tried very hard that every time the universe has given me something, given me my husband, my family, my son, given me a party to join, given me my tickets, whatever. The point is I've always tried to put it back tenfold, which is why I'm so aware of cruelty, inequality. And I've tried my very best throughout my life to give back much more than I've been given.
I, as an individual, was so fascinated by your journey. Got married at 18
That's
in
right.
such an influential family. I believe it's a very turbulent journey from Miss Sri Ram College to a politician and activist. How do you manage to do all this thing with so much calm and grace and confidence?
I don't know. I just do my duty. I see life as a duty. I also don't think of 2 things. I don't think of the past and I don't think of the future. I think every day my life begins in the morning and it ends at night. And whatever good I can do during that time, I do it. Now what that does is it removes fear. Fear comes from thinking of the future and it comes from remembering the past. Fear, regret. I have none of these things because I just have today. So whatever I can do today is really important and really good. That's all. If you get rid of fear, then you reach a part of yourself which is why you're on the planet. And if you can reach that part, if you're lucky enough, then you just do the best you can. You just leave the world slightly better than you found it.
We're always haunted by past
That's
and
right.
petrified by future. So we forget to live in the moment.
I don't ever think of the past or the future, except as a series of anecdotes of the past, something that made me laugh or something that made me cry, but that's it. I'm not haunted by the past and I certainly don't think of the future at all. I put my life at the service of the universe. So it does what it does. I do what I have to do.
How do you
That's just
see
today.
yourself as a politician in the days to come, or you just don't?
I don't have days
see
to
the
come.
future.
I just have it today. God will do what He does. But the point is, I see it in terms of a trade, things in the bank. If you put enough service into the bank, when you need it, it comes back and gives it to you with interest.
Thank you so much. It's been an honor talking to you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you for your presence. It was
That is
really
so
wonderful
kind.
having you here.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's an AP1 presentation.